Welcome to the Polity, your deep dive into the forces shaping governance, policies, and power. From the halls of government.
You were there. I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. You were there. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They're feeling school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisanbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ibuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Okay, it's 9:17 a.m. and you are tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha. We are saying welcome to the Polity, Thursday edition, 2nd of April 2026. We are counting down to Easter. Of course, Easter is on Sunday. That's Easter Sunday. Then on Monday is Easter Monday. And federal government has already declared a public holiday for the celebration. The holidays are for Friday, which is tomorrow, and then for Monday. Tomorrow is Good Friday, and today is a Holy Thursday. So for the Catholics, today is Monday, Thursday, where they are going to have the washing of feet ceremony and what have you not, the stripping of the altar and the other things. So somebody can say that the Holy Week has begun proper, and a lot is expected from Christians who believe in Jesus Christ, of course, because the foundation of Christianity is Easter, because if Christ hadn't risen from the dead, maybe the faith people had in him would have been in vain. So we encourage you to be part of the Holy Week, and at the same time ensure that you get to show love, because it's all about love and sacrifice for this very season. So we thank you for being with us this very morning on Udala Radio 104.7 FM, where we bring you topical developments at this point in time. It's all about development in the country as captured by different newspapers in form of headlines. We begin by telling the headlines and then bring you analysis on the topical developments in the polity. My name is Franklin Ibuka, and as usual, Tony Lisambeki is on the analysis desk. He's going to lead us on the issues for the day. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning to you, Franklin Ibuka. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, in Anambra. Good morning, in Onitsha. Good morning, in Osumuhu. Good morning, in the Oluoyibo, in the Nazwafi and Olwaka, the elderly, the pensioners, the physically challenged, and everyone under the reach of a voice, and those who are doing good for the sake of humanity. Wherever you are listening to us from, it's always a pleasure. Remember, just as Frank said, today is Holy Thursday. For Catholics, it's better known as Maundy Thursday. Maundy Thursday is a day where two important commands were made by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. The command for us to love one another, and at the same time the command of humility, service. And if you remember, most time when we say Monday, Thursday, is a Latin word that means mandatum. Mandatum simply means mandate, to give command. And it's just the very day the sacrament of Holy Eucharist was instituted. And you know, when Christ says, this is my command to you, love one another, and he put himself as a sacrificial lamb. He became the sacrifice himself. That's why he gave up himself in that very Passover night. This is my body. Now many of us remember it, which will be given up for you. And it has to do with the redemption of mankind. and then where he washed the disciples' feet as a sign of humility and service. And you will see many of the services today will be washing of feet in commemoration of some of these institutions and some of these practices he has instituted. So that's why it's called Mandatum Thursday. That's for those who are deep in Catholicism, but the truth is we are in Holy Week, and that will be a day leading to the crucifixion. Last Sunday was Hosanna, and tomorrow will be crucifixion. And you find out that those who shouted Hosanna just some days back, the same set of people who are shouting crucify him. That is to tell you how hypocritical we are. I remember Ochomole making this, a very strong statement. If you join APC, your sins are forgiven. But he made it in an audacious manner. But you also have obedience. Once you join their group, your sins are also forgiven. Likes of Malami, likes of Erufai that have joined the ranks, their sins have been forgiven by the obedience. Are they not the same thing? That is one thing about hypocrisy. But in any case, we are welcoming you wherever you are listening to us from. We thank God Almighty for making us to be alive this very day, for his mercies, for his forgiveness of sin, which we are going to witness tomorrow, the highest sacrifice, and at the same time, for all he has been doing in our lives, the blessings and everything. Just sit back and enjoy the program. It's going to be hot as always. We're going to serve the truth raw, the way you will not like it. Sit back and enjoy the program.
Okay, don't forget that we're live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Get on that very page and join the conversation. The video is up. You can share the video, you can like and follow the page. Drop your comment, your name and your location, they are needed. We are also live on YouTube and the Instagram, Udala Radio. Get interactive on those platforms. Let's get to deepen the conversation. And this very morning, a lot, of course. I talk about what is happening in Jos because yesterday, the governor of not yesterday, it was 2 days ago that the governor of Plateau State announced the realization of the coffee in that very state in Jos North. And less than 24 hours after he announced that realization, we saw unrest in Jos. And from what we gathered, about 3 persons were killed yesterday. In fact, as we speak, the University of Jos has asked students to leave the school premises, the campus, the hostels, because they cannot guarantee the safety of students in that very place. So that tells us that the dust is here to settle. And today, Mr. President is going to visit Jos to go there and commiserate with the people of Plateau State. If he's going to make anything different there, I do not know. Then the big story, or the biggest story yesterday, is what happened to ADC, where INEC issued the press statement late in the evening yesterday, saying that henceforth is going to derecognize the NWC of ADC led by Senator David Mark. And I must tell you that everywhere has caught fire. ADC people are reacting, Nigerians are reacting, lawyers are reacting, and they have raised so many questions regarding what INEC did yesterday. We're going to talk about that. Then today is a World Autism Day, a very important day because a day like this is set aside by the United Nations for us to create awareness about autism, and at the same time to promote acceptance, support, and inclusion for autistic individuals globally. This very day was actually established in 2007 by United Nations, and this day highlights the need for neuro-inclusive environments in health, education, and workplaces, celebrating the strengths and contributions of autistic people. When we have these very people amongst us, sometimes we do hide them, or sometimes we don't give them the kind of support they require. But I have seen some autistic people who are doing wonders. I know one who is into painting that has been recognized by Guinness World Record. So the thing is this: yes, we know that it is capital intensive to take care of people who are autistic, but the world is saying that these people need to be taken care of, they need to be supported, they need to be included in society so that they can have a sense of belonging. This very morning, I listened to Billy Cambry team where they talked about the act which was done by the pastor of the founder of Omega Ministry, Pastor Chibuzo, where he had to make a way to get a wife for an autistic boy he has been taken care of ever since he was dumped in front of his house when the child was still very small. And we had different divergent views that people aired on that very development, whether it was a good one or not. So, Tony, World Autism Day today to raise awareness and at the same time, talk about these spectrum disorder and for us to promote acceptance and support individuals with autism.
Well, just like you said, you have said it all. Because when we talk about autism, it's becoming popular in the sense that people are getting to know more about it, not because we have not seen that before now. And when you talk about autism, of course we know is what we call autism spectrum disorder, ASD. If you don't call it autism, you call it autism spectrum disorder. Well, I know it's a neurodevelopmental condition that affects how a person communicates, interacts socially, and behaves and processes information. And when you look at people with autism, of course, they deserve our support, not sympathy, support. Sometimes I value support over sympathy. The major characteristics of these people, of course, they have delayed speech or unusual pattern or speech pattern. Sometimes they can't communicate effectively. Sometimes they start talking at a later stage in their lives. So many things. But one thing we know very well, that they have difficulty understanding emotions and social cues. A lot of repetitive behaviors, especially the way they act, the way they look, and other things. But when it comes to sensory sensitivities, of course, they are over or under reaction to sounds. But the key thing is they are seen in many ways. World Autism Day, just like you said, every 2nd of April, established by the United Nations, just to raise awareness, promote inclusion, support people living with autism, not to show sympathy. You can show sympathy anyway, but the most important, you must show support. That is why it is important. We must show understanding, we must show acceptance, and also recognize the abilities of people with autism, not just the challenges they have as individuals, but at the same time the potentials inherent in them. Because just like you mentioned, one that was into painting, they have many potentials, great one. Apart from those who are into painting, there are those who are into artistic works, and sometimes over the time when they grow, they tend to be much more better. Well, it's a good thing that we remember them this very day, and we must show support. And you know very well that it's all over the world, and Nigeria, it will not be an exception. And when we talk about autism in Nigeria, you see how many people who, for one reason or the other, because Nigeria may not be where this kind of support is shown. If you go to countries like United Kingdom, United States of America, government takes care of these people in a way you can never imagine. They have their special homes. Because if you look at in Nigeria, even when studies show that autism in Nigeria ranges from 0.8% to 2.3% of children, depending on location. About 1 in 86 Nigerian children, 1 in 86 may suffer this. And it tells you the need for government to also come into this. Government should also show support, provide free medical services to people who are autistic, and see how they can be sheltered, especially when they are coming from a very poor homes. It's important government needs to come in.
Okay, so Tony, it's good that you are saying it, because if you look at the realities in the country now, as Nigeria is joining the rest of the world to mark this very World Autism Day, our reality is that there are now mounting concerns over the harsh realities faced by families of children with autism in Nigeria. Now, this very harsh reality is the fact that the costs of taking care of these very people has gone up. Take, for instance, if you want to give good care to these very people, there's what they call different kinds of therapy that they can undergo, which is like backbone in the management of people with autism. Take, for instance, they have speech therapy, they have behavioral therapy, even occupational therapy, and these things cost money to do all of them. And you talked about in some other clients where they have developed, where they have homes where they can take care of these very people. In our own client, these things are not really available, but where we have them, you see that some families, they have difficulty in bearing this financial burden. So if there's any way that government philanthropists will be able to have like this kind of endowment fund where hospital will be able to dip their hands in and be able to take care of these very people who have these very special needs, so that is going to be appreciated. Now, before we get to the headlines, let me talk about this, because I won't talk about it from the point of the from the social angle. We'll be able to bring it back to governance. And yesterday we saw a post which was made by a very dark man and his lawyer Marshall, that they were able to arrest B. Lord and bundle him to Abuja, where he has been remanded in prison, because according to them, he impersonated very dark man, and two of them went to social media to make that very post. Very dark man, he boasted about it. Likewise, Marshall, he also boasted about it. But look at the point where we are coming from. Marshall posted this, gleefully, and people are asking, we thought this person is a human rights activist who fights for the human right of others. Then how can a human rights lawyer get involved in illegality? In fact, I saw a post which was made by Showore. He said he was going to call Marshall to discontinue from that very case, that in as much as he doesn't support what Lord did, but he's against what Marshall did, trying to use police to settle personal matters. Now, this now brings me to the reality of Nigeria, that we Nigerians, we are the ones who complain about police brutality, using the police to settle personal scores. We complain about it, but we are still the ones that engineer the police to do this. We were in this country when people went on rampage, against SARS. When people went for SARS protests, it was everywhere. It was like a tsunami. People were criticizing police, saying that SARS was doing inhuman things, that SARS were getting involved in brutality, extrajudicial killing, extortion, and what have you not. But today, people still go to police and tell them to go and bundle somebody and keep the person in prison for no just cause.
Well, the truth remains that I don't get involved in some of these social issues. You talk about the people you are talking about, I prefer calling them by their former names. Martin Ose, right? And one, if I can remember the other guy's name, B. Lord, his real name. But for me, they are entertaining Nigerians. For Nigerians, this has become a distraction, instead of us talking about the future, where we should be and how. These are people making money from comments. They're making a lot of money. Whatever they post on social media, they make so much money.
No, we are one, because me, I don't want us to get involved in their drama. Is that area of people using the police to settle personal scores. And the problem is that it's the same people who complain about police being high-handed, getting involved in illegality, that the same people that go to enlist police don't do that.
And I think the matter has to do with criminal. It's not a criminal defamation. I think from what I've seen and from what I've read, criminal unauthorized use of personal information of somebody to dupe people or to mislead people in a dishonest manner. So it's a criminality. It's something for me. For the case is still in court. We are not going to preempt whatever courts would rule, but it is something that the person who feel offended will petition police once you petition police, because it is criminality, anything criminal, police gets involved. It's not a civil issue. Civil issue should have been where police would not get involved. You go straight to the court and file fundamental rights suits. Or if it is a land dispute, you file it in court without police coming in, unless if there is no illegal trespass or illegal usurpation or illegal possession, anything outside criminality, police will stay off. But once it involves criminality, as the very dark man emphasized, that his face, his whatever, everything belonging to him was used without his permission, is criminality on the surface. And the first thing is to write petition to the police, and the police will now make invitation, and the police makes invitation, the police will prefer charges, and these charges will be read in court, and police will make the arraignment. It is the duty of police to arraign the person, and once the person is arraigned in the court, of course the court will make some statements, issue of jurisdiction may come in, or possibly a remand order may come in, and where the court will advise the prosecution to seek the advice of the Directorate of Public Prosecution, the DPP. But that is by the way. We are concerned about is if the business was done genuinely, where somebody owes you. You don't get police involved to recover your debt, especially in situations where the person who is owing admits that he is owing, as far as it is not on false representation or dishonesty. Because once false representation comes in, dishonesty comes in such transaction, it becomes criminal. But once the transaction is pure and the parties understand that it's a case of the person not being able to pay up, it is purely civil, and police will not get involved. It's something court gets involved. But where I have problem with the young lawyers you mentioned, he has joined the social media ranks. A lawyer is not supposed to be making such kind of posts. And where they were taking the young man to court, they were making videos. These things are illegal. Matters in court are not to be treated as a social media content. Matters before court. You know, because for me, for those who are following the whole incident, the lawyer to Bilo should also raise issue of how they have turned court proceedings into social media content creation. He don't do that. They were just videoing everything, and they also acknowledge the fact they shouldn't do so, but they were doing so, trying to send impression. The issue is they are fighting over supremacy. Who is more superior? The other one says he has money, he has contact. The other one says he has followers, that he has influence. That's just the rubbish these two young men are getting themselves into. Okay. For me, it is outright madness.
Yes, because for me, I think we have been able to establish what is needed. So whatever rivalry they want to get involved in, that is their own cup of tea. But the issue of the abuse we do see that has a way of rubbing off on governance, that's our concern. So this very morning, we're going to just go straight to bring the headlines. We have this very morning. Stay with us.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You're listening to the Polity. My name is Franklin Ebekan, down with Tony Olisambreki, who is on the analysis desk. I just to remind you once more that we are live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Get on that platform, drop your comments in response to the issues we have raised, or the ones we're going to raise in the course of today's program. So let's get to the headlines. 4 of newspapers we have this very morning. The Punch, Daily Sun, Vanguard, and the Guardian newspapers. We begin with the headlines on the Punch. The big story says INEC de-recognizes Mark Areboshola, parties revolt on page 2 of the Punch. It has three riders. One of them says ADC PDP will be reject INEC stance on Mark Arreboshola. Parties accuse APC of inciting INEC via resistance. INEC insists decision guided by court ruling sacks Nafiu Gombe as ADC chair. Bank recapitalization. Local investors provide 72% of 4.6 trillion naira on page 9 of Punch newspaper. Easter, FG declares Friday, Monday holidays on page 7 of the Punch. Coup, families detained officers protest at National Assembly. Families of detained officers protest at National Assembly on page 5 of the Punch. Beside the nameplate of the newspaper, Plateau killings, Tinubu visit Jos, IGP deploys mobile police force on page 7. 2027, Wike fires back at Bauchi governor amid PDP crisis on page 3. Manufacturers face 60% interest rates, report on page 8. 2027, APC resumes e-registration. PDP faction claims 4.2 million members. That story can be found on page 20 of Punch newspaper. And we leave Punch now to get to the headlines on Daily Sun. You can see the picture story there. With the managing director and CEO of Zenith Bank, Dame Adora Umoji, with the senior vice president, country manager, Villa Wood. That's the picture story we have on the very front page. Then the big headline there says tension as just boys. Tension as just boys. Page 6 of Daily Sun. The riders include 3 killed in violent protest against Palm Sunday deadly terror attack. PFN, NOSEF condemn Plateau killings, demand swift justice. Unijust authorities order immediate evacuation of students. President visit Jos today. You can see those stories on page 6 of Daily Sun. ADC in trouble as INEC sacks David Mark led NWC on page 25. Banks raise 4.65 trillion naira as CBN concludes recapitalization exercise. 33 banks scale hurdle. That story is also on the front page of Daily Sun. PDP hits 4.3 million in membership registration on page 30. It has a rider Southwest, South, North Central lead. Don't stand aloof, end impunity, insecurity now. Catholic Bishop tax Tinubu on page 27. APC woos Governor Bala Muhammad, aims to stall defection to ADC on page 27. It has rider Yewalda, Kano governor, other leaders meet governor. Wike hits Bauchi governor, says he is he's unstable. So Bala Muhammad, 2 days ago, he had a meeting with some APC stakeholders in Bauchi, Bauchi government house in Abuja, and he said that he's consulting to know his political destination. He said he has options either to go to APC or go to ADC, but after his consultations, he's going to know where he's going to end, because for him, all efforts to reconcile the warring factions in the PDP, they have all failed. So if he leaves now, what is PDP left with when it comes to governors who normally, bring money for elections and also bring structures for election? Another headline says FG dismisses report of Ezibo installation in South Africa. That's what is on page 8. It has a rider Asohanes Ndibo issues disclaimer. Okay, so these are the headlines we have on the front page of Daily Sun, and we have to get over to Vanguard newspapers. On Vanguard, the big story says ADC setback for Atiku will be others as INEC Axis Mark Areboshora. The story is on page 8. It has riders names of David Mark Areboshora removed from each side as national chairman secretary. Will also not recognize their challenges, or rather, will also not recognize their challengers in court. Says it will neither communicate with them nor monitor convention congresses. Okay. Wike Bala Muhammad at loggerheads over PDP APC. The story is on page 5. It has a rider. You are responsible for PDP's problems. Bala tackles Wike. Your exit from PDP. Good riddance, Wike. Another headline says Easter FG declares tomorrow, Monday public holidays on page 8. Trump mauls withdrawing US from NATO on page 8. NNPCL targets 7 cargoes of crude oil supply to Dangote refinery on page 22. DSS detains El Rufai. Court fixes April 14th for bail ruling on page 9. Fresh tension in Jos as curfew relaxation triggers attacks on page 15. It has a rider. Unit Jos orders hostel evacuation over heightened insecurity. Tinubu postpones Ogun trip, heads to Jos. That can be found on front page of Vanguard newspaper. You can as well read the Mr. and Mrs. on the front page. So we'll go over to the last paper this morning, which is The Guardian. And the big story there says ADC blames APC for woes as INEC suspends ESCO over internal crisis on page 6 of The Guardian. CBN begins regulation of virtual asset custodians as banks mobilize 4.65 trillion naira fresh capital. That's on page 15 of The Guardian. World Autism Day. Scarce services, high cost of care, deepen financial strain on households on page 6 of Guardian. Lagos Benue lead as Nigeria report 20,838 new HIV cases. I think I posted the breakdown on my Facebook page yesterday, so you can see where your state is, so that you know how to take care of yourself and ensure that you don't get to contract HIV, because it's still with us. Fresh tension grips Jos after government relaxes curfew. That's on page 20. Plateau killings. Tinubu reschedules Ogun visit. Heads to Jos. That story is on page 3. And he made that decision yesterday after he had a meeting with the Plateau State Governor in Abuja. So we're going to watch this space and know what he's going to say when he gets to Jos today. Whether he's going to declare any decisive action or he's going to be the normal condolence and normal assurance, which at the end of the day gets to produce nothing. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, once more, thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha. It's now 9:49 a.m. My name is Frank Nebukatono Disambeki is on the analysis desk, and we have to begin with the big story today, which is about what has happened to ADC. Yesterday, we saw a press statement which was issued by INEC. I think it was posted around between 5 and 6 p.m. And in that very statement, INEC made a declaration saying that henceforth is going to de-recognize the National Working Committee of the ADC led by Senator David Mark and remove Arebo Shola. And INEC is saying that his decision is based on the fact that there is a court ruling which was served on it, and that's why he's going to henceforth no longer recognize the David Mark led NWC, and neither will he recognize the other faction which is laying claim to leadership as led by Nephew Gombe, Bala Gombe. So this is the situation for ADC now, and NEC is even saying that it can no longer accept any correspondence from ADC. It's not going to monitor any event they're going to have. In fact, anything about ADC for now is going to be on standby. It's going to go to each website and remove the name of David Mark as national chairman of the party. What that simply means that there is a vacuum now when you talk about leadership of the ADC. And since then, there have been different reactions from lawyers, Nigerians, and likewise stakeholders of the ADC, and they're asking questions about the basis for the action of INEC. But INEC said he has an explanation and is acting in compliance with a substituting ruling of the appeal court. So, Tony, I will have to begin this conversation, but first of all, let's put into context the action of INEC before any other thing. So, from you, let's get your thoughts on this latest INEC decision to derecognize the National Working Committee of ADC led by David Mark, based on the ruling of the appeal court in a case involving Nafiu Bala Gombe, who was the vice chairman of the ADC before the Mark caretaker committee assumed control of the party that very time. And then the question will now be if INEC acted within the confines of judicial pronouncement, don't it?
Well, the truth remains that we are all shocked yesterday, but I saw this happening. Frank, you will bear me witness. Most times, I think it was sometime last week and possibly early this week, I keep referring to something that ADC, they are still having leadership problem. And from the grapevine, I'm seeing something. There is a way we usually say this in local parlance. I see danger. Because not that the danger is unavoidable, but the forces that be. Look at what I'm saying. And I somehow subtly made reference to some of these things. The leadership, and they said, I think one of the days we were actually on this program, I made mention of that. And somebody was saying that no, that seems to have been taken care of. But yesterday reminds me that if somebody says, you a prophet, you a seer, you see or you imagine or you feel what usually do happen later on, I will tell the person, because you have said so. Now, going back to the issue, INEC shocked many Nigerians yesterday. For those who believe that the INEC as presently constituted is an offshoot of APC, they may have stronger reason to believe so. It happened, no doubt. But for me, I will always say that INEC statement yesterday is a pure indictment of certain beliefs Nigerians have on INEC. You know, INEC seems to be losing that trust, but it was compounded yesterday by what they wrote. And I've gone through their statement, and I've gone through the law, and I've gone through the Electoral Act, I've gone through the statement made by the Federal High Court, presided over by Justice Emeka Nwite. And I've also gone through the statements made by appeal courts. It was judgment on the 12th of March 2026, where a 3-member panel led by Justice Uchechukwu Onyemenam, with Justices Muhammad Mustafa and Okon Eferete Abank, where they unanimously made a ruling. And I know the rulings they made. And these rulings, for me, were not properly interpreted by INEC. The rulings of the appeal courts and the ruling of the Federal High Court, presided over by Justice Emeka Nwite, these things were not erroneously interpreted by INEC. And that's why INEC got us to where we are. But many Nigerians are saying this is a case of the hand of Esau, but the voice of Jacob. That is somebody beating the drum, beating the whole thing for INEC. That there is a grand plan, according to some people, to make the 2027 election to be non-contestable, where it's going to be unopposed candidates. Of course, that's what so many of them are saying. That INEC seems to have killed into such plan. But it's an accusation. With what is going on, people are having stronger belief that this accusation may be true or not. Now let's go back to what happened, because that's what you asked me. Because what I've just said so far is just preamble. But for those who are following the matter, remember, it was sometime around July last year that ADC under Raf Okenwosu, who is also the founder, announced to Nigerians that the National Working Committee, the NWC of the ADC, which he was the national chairman at that time, they have all voluntarily resigned their positions. For those national chairman, national vice chairman north, national vice chairman south, national deputy chairman among the 60 political zone, the secretary, national secretary, and these are the positions of NWC. If you come to the National Working Committee of a political party, you have these positions that all of them have voluntarily resigned, appointing a caretaker committee led by David Mark and Rauf Arebochola as the national secretary, which subject to ratification of the NEC, National Executive Committee of the party, which is the second highest body of a political party, the second decision-making body of a political party. Once it is ratified, they will assume their offices, and they can also be elected during the elective national convention, which they scheduled. Remember, they have scheduled their convention on 14th of April. So from every look, that 14th of April national convention is shaky. When this happened, somebody came out and said, no, I did not resign. And who is that person? Nephew Bala Gombe, the national deputy chairman North. He said, because he was also the ADC governorship candidate for Gombe State in 2023 general election. Nephew Bala Gombe, he said he did not resign. But there were some documents bandied over social media where we also saw his resignation letter. But that letter seems like filling a form where those things have been written. You just put your name and put the date and put your signature, because those things have been written. It's more like writing a form. Every other one was typed. Everything was typed. Only the column for name is a long dash. The other one column for signature, you just fill your name. So people felt that it could not be original. But the man said he hasn't resigned. That for the fact that other members of the National Working Committee of the party, they have all resigned, that he now inherits the position of national chairmanship. Because in the constitution of ADC, situations where the national chairman resigns, the next in the line of succession will be the deputy national chairman South, who has also resigned. And if the deputy national chairman South has also resigned, it means that the next person in the line of succession will be the deputy national chairman North. So he is saying that, going by the constitution of the party, that the lot has fallen on him to assume the position of the national chairman of the party, which he says and declared himself as the national chairman. At that point, David Mark had been pronounced the caretaker national chairman by by Okera Fumosu, the founder and the former national chairman, who resigned and dissolved their own cabinet. But when this man made his statement, nobody took him serious. But expect APC to be interested in that case, and also expect the ruling party. Remember how Julius Abure, how he began his own. You also remember the very man that also declared himself the chairman of the Labour Party before Julius Abure got himself entangled with Leonard Usman. But the man first challenged Julius Abure. And at that time, Lamidi Papa, he was supported by APC. But the APC now say that they were not in support, that they cannot interfere in another political party. They dissociated themselves. But the comments some of the members make on social media appear to the fact that they may be in support of Lamidi Papa. But Lamidi Papa withdrew the moment Julius Aburo got himself entangled with Nenadi Usman. And we saw Julius Abure with Wike. And he said he can always visit Wike. But that's a part. Let's go back to this issue. This young man, Nafiu Balagombe, felt that INEC was still recognizing David Mark. He went to courts. He went to a federal high court to challenge INEC recognition of David Mark. And he made an ex parte application.
Now, so you are going to hold it at this point in time. After this very break, we now talk about that ex parte application he made at the court. Because as we speak now, I'm on INEC website looking at the page that has ADC. I will tell you what I'm saying there. ADC, African Democratic Congress, National Chairman by court order is vacant. National Secretary by court order vacant. National Treasurer by court order vacant. National Financial Secretary by court order vacant. In fact, all of them vacant. Or you can see they just by court order. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We are Udala Radio. Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Special announcement. All traders and business owners affected by the ongoing demolition at Onitsha Main Market. An alternative is now available. West Africa Intercontinental Trade Center Limited, WETC, in partnership with the Anambra State Government, is building a modern commercial complex at Oze Unkwele Road Mechanic Village. Good news. All affected traders will receive free shops for 1 year, while the permanent shop clusters are being completed. To benefit from this opportunity, all affected traders and interested persons should visit the Onitsha Chamber of Commerce to obtain the expression of interest form. Location: opposite Shanahan University Gate, Basilica of the Most Holy Trinity Compound, GRA, Onitsha. Investors who wish to build modern shops for sale to subscribers can also obtain the forms. Note: only 16 clusters remain, and each cluster contains 272 shops. Don't miss this opportunity to secure a shop in the WETC Modern Trade Complex today. For inquiries, call 0803 786 6974 or 0813 644 5336.
When you think of roofing, think of strength. When you think of durability, think of beauty. And when you think of all three combined, think Best Aluminium MFG Limited. At Best Aluminium, we don't just manufacture roofing sheets. We create protection, comfort, and style for your home and business. Whether you're building from scratch or repairing an old roof, we have exactly what you need. Our products include stone-coated roofing sheets, aluminum roofing sheets, and colored roofing sheets. But that's not all. We also offer residential and commercial roofing services, roof repairs, gutters, emergency roofing services, and even durable cookwares that bring quality to your kitchen. Visit us today at 30/32 Anyika Street, Awada Obosi, Anambra State, or call us right now on 0806 416 2374 or 0706 059 6203.
It is with hearts weighed down by unspeakable pain, yet bowed in humble total submission to the will of Almighty God. We, the entire Ezego and Usochukwu family of Umezube Kindred, Udu Village, Ichida, Anocha local government area of Anambra State, announce the transition to glory of our beloved husband, father, grandfather, brother, uncle, brother-in-law, and father-in-law, whose life was a testament to courage, sacrifice, and enduring love. Late Mr. Uzochukwu Godfrey Onyaka as a bishop, 1952 to 2025. Burial arrangements: Tuesday, 7th of April 2026. Wake at his compound, Umwezube Kindred, Udu Village, Ichida, Anocha local government area. Wednesday, 8th April 2026, 6:30 a.m. Body leads in mortuary Ichida to his compound. 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. Lying in state at his compound. 10 a.m. Burial mass at St. Rita's Catholic Church, Udu Village, Ichida. Interment follows immediately after to Mass. Thursday, 9th of April 2026. Condolence visit by in-laws, friends, and well-wishers continue. Sunday, 12th April 2026. 9 a.m. Thanksgiving Mass at Sarita Catholic Church, Mbudu Ichida. Signed, Uzochukwu Chukwuebuka, for the family. May the soul of Godfrey Uzochukwu rest in perfect peace. Amen.
Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okono Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success story starts here. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Yes, you are listening to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha. My name is Franklin Bekatuni Lisembeki is on the analysis desk. Before we went to that very commercial break, we were battling you the genesis of the court process that led to the action that INEC took yesterday. So we continue from there before we now get to other questions, Tony.
Yeah, exactly. So we're actually talking about what happened September last year. The dissolution of the NWC of ADC by Okera Fumosu was in July. Then what happened around September? Where Alhaji Nafiu Balagombe approached the Federal High Court Abuja seeking just one thing: the de-recognition. INEC should stop recognizing David Mark as the national chairman of the party, but instead recognize him. And you know what Justice Emeka Nwite did? Justice Emeka Nwite, in ruling in that ex parte application, ex parte simply means when you approach a court seeking for a relief without putting the other party on notice. It's something you approach the court. Court can grant it. Court can ask you to put the other party on notice so that the party should show cause why it cannot grant the relief sought by this party. I don't know. I get everybody understand that, because when you approach a court, you seek court, do this for me, do this for me, do this for me. If you don't do this for me, this will happen, this will happen. The court look at everything you are demanding and say, you know what, we are going to do this. If court grants that, mostly it's usually 14 days or 7 days depending on the matter before the court. But when they don't want to grant it because of how sensitive or what it could cause, they usually ask you, you know what, before we can grant this your demands, please put the other person it will affect on notice. Let the person show cause. Tell us why the court cannot make the demand you have come before. And you know, it's very simple. And that is exactly what Justice Emeka Nwite did. But there is an error, but I will come back to the error. Justice Emeka Nwite, in ruling as far as that application is concerned, that was on September 4, 2025. He asked in his oral ruling, he asked Nafiu Balagombe to put David Mark and others on notice. Let them show cause why the court, which he presides over, cannot grant the demand Bala is making, Nasu Balagombe is making. And that demand is simple: that INEC should stop recognizing David Mark and also recognize him as the chairman, but put David Mark on notice to come and tell us why the court cannot grant that demand. That was the ruling. And the court also went further to adjourn. But there was a problem, and that problem was caused by the court registrar. What did the court registrar do? The court registrar, in preparing the enrollment order, because once a matter is decided by a court, the judge makes pronouncements. Those pronouncements are called enrollment order. The registrar of the court prepares such order in a statement format and signed by the registrar. And what the judge said was not what the registrar did, and that is the beginning of the problem. And some people are saying the registrar may have done that out of whatever this or whatever that. But what did the registrar do? In preparing the enrollment order, the registrar went and wrote that the court refused the application sought by Nafi Bala Muhammad. But the court did not refuse the application. What the court simply did was to ask Nafi Bala Muhammad to put David Mark on notice. That was omitted by the court registrar, who went as far as writing that application, that demand made by Nafi Bala, was outrightly rejected by the court. And David Mark, having seen that enrollment order, was happy. But that was not what Justice Emeka Wite pronounced in the open court, and went to appeal court. That's weird. For me, he couldn't have gone to appeal court, but he rushed to appeal court. He went to appeal court and told appeal court, for the fact that the judge has refused this application, the matter is ended. That the court has no more jurisdiction on that matter because of the enrollment order they have obtained. Of course, they tendered of the enrollment order signed by the court registrar. But appeal court now came back on March this year and looked at the whole thing and faulted David Mark's appeal. In fact, appeal court awarded a cost against David Mark, and appeal court made 3 important statements and asked David Mark, how can you bring an appeal on a matter that has not been decided by a court? That's abuse of court process. And 2, and asked David Mark, why would you rely on written enrollment order instead of a pronounced enrollment order? That the pronounced enrollment order is above written one. The one the court, the judge uses his mouth to pronounce, to speak out, is what is valid. If the one written is not in conformity with the one spoken overrides the one written, because the one the judge uses his mouth to pronounce is valid. And that's where they told David Mark, from the court records, the judge pronounced that you will be put on notice, not that it refused the application sought by Nafi Bala. And thirdly, because these were some of the things that happened, but I know why we are going to this extent is for us to have a better understanding, a better knowledge, so that when you start making your submission, you make it from informed perspective, not from whatever. Because the judgment of March 12th in Abuja, we are a 3-member panel led by Justice Uchechukwu Onyemenam with Justices Muhammad, Mustafa, and Oko Nefereti. They ruled unanimously because of what happened. And then where they were looking at David Mark and said, you came to appeal. Did you seek the leave of the court, the trial court? Because for you to appeal on a matter that has not been decided by a trial court, you must obtain the leave of the court. Or if you are appealing either on preliminary objection or any injunction given, it could be interlocutory, it could be interim. In any of this, you must obtain the leave of court, the trial court. If you cannot obtain the leave of the trial court, you can also obtain the leave of the appeal court, because the matter is still on. And I asked David Mark, you did not obtain the leave of the trial court or even the leave of the appeal court, and then you brought this appeal over a matter that is ongoing. And at that point, the court was annoyed. They slashed 2 million against David Mark and asked, look at where INEC make mistake now. Listen. And the court, appeal court, now stated that the status quo ante bellum be maintained and asked that Mark should wait until the trial court makes a decision, a ruling on the matter before it. Now, what was the status quo ante bellum? Status quo ante bellum means everything should remain the way they were before the matter was brought before the court. That was the status.
So what was that status?
The status.
Let's establish it.
The status you are talking about was that Mark was recognized by INEC, and INEC accorded him recognition, and they had exchanges in form of correspondences with David Mark led AWC. That was the status quo, and that was the way things were before Nafi Bala felt otherwise, that he should have been the one that INEC ought to recognize, owing to the fact that he failed to resign. He has inherited the position. That was the status quo ante bellum, and that was exactly what appeal court ruled and asked that the trial court conclude what it was on it. I don't know where INEC misunderstood status quo ante bellum. Now INEC went and said by court order. Court did not order you anything. Let's be real. Court did not order you to do anything. Only thing the appeal court said was the status quo ante bellum is a Latin word. Status, the way things were. Quo at that time. Ante, before. Bellum, before the war. The way things were should be maintained until the matter is concluded. All of a sudden, INEC hurriedly said by court order. Which order? That is one. And secondly,
so are you saying that INEC acted politically rather than legally?
They acted on ultra vires, because what they did was nowhere close to what appeal court said. And let me tell you this, it was an ex parte order. An ex parte order brought before the Federal High Court. And Justice Emeka, so look at what INEC said now. We are not going to recognize everybody until the Federal High Court, presided over by Justice Emeka Nwite, rules on the matter. You cannot deprive a political party of leadership
because
unilaterally.
Was there at any point in time that ADC had no leadership?
There was never a time. And INEC has no power to deprive a political party leadership. INEC should obey court pronouncement. Court did not even strip ADC of leadership. As we speak now, no court stripped ADC of leadership.
If INEC was confused, let's assume that INEC was confused about what the status quo ante bellum was, could they have gone to appeal court to ask for clarification?
For crying out loud, INEC we are joined in all these matters. They have a legal department. They have a legal unit. INEC has SANS working for them. And these SANS, of course, their position in the judicial system commands a lot of respect. But the fact remains that if INEC had wanted interpretation of the judgment, they can also apply for the leave of appeal court. Please explain to us. Because it is something common. Everybody knows that when a court says maintain the status quo ante bellum, who doesn't know that? Who don't, even non-law students, even law students, those who are not lawyers, everybody knows that. It could be what INEC could be confused about. But the truth remains that people are beginning to read the handwriting on the wall. But David Mark, for me, because I like being honest, he shouldn't have gone to appeal court. He shouldn't have gone to appeal court because you were trying to lock your leadership and believing that the mistake made by the court registrar, where the court registrar has written that the trial court refused the application sought by Nafi Bala, and you went as far to push it further that it has now confers no jurisdiction on the trial court when the trial court has not made a permanent statement.
Now, that means they have another move to make for them to be able to correct whatever the error has been made. Now, let's look at the other side of this very argument, because I have read some persons trying to argue that INEC was never wrong in what it did. They are saying that that the matter to some extent is justiciable because ADC flouted its own constitution. Now, the argument is that Bala Gombe did not resign. That's the argument. That he did not resign. That other members of the NWC resigned except him, and they are saying that by the virtue of the constitution of ADC, that the deputy national chairman was supposed to assume office automatically and begin to function in the capacity of the national chairman. So the argument is that since he did not resign, that there was a point for him to have been going to court to advance that he be recognized. Now, I also read some other people who are also arguing that even if that he did not resign and he was to assume duty as the acting national chairman, that there is need for ratification by NEC or the convention or by any other arrangement by the party. And they are saying that if that happened, that NEC chose that we cannot continue with you, we need to have a new executive. And that means that Gombe had no basis to have gone to court for anything.
All right, I think let's look at the two positions by those who are canvassing these two positions. Remember the Supreme Court ruling that the issue of leadership of any political party is not justiciable by any court. I think that's what David Mark and co are relying on by saying that Federal High Court has no jurisdiction over this matter because it borders on issue of leadership. That is one. Then for those who say that yes, if let's assume, because they are also saying that Bala Gombe resigned, that he was giving money to stoke this problem, that the bandit showed that he resigned, that they met him at the back to come back to stoke this thing. But from what we saw, just like I told you earlier on, what we saw was a form-like pepper, which
they use Byron to feel
it. So for me, I wouldn't take it.
It looks like a fake.
Yeah, it looks fake. So I wouldn't take it that he resigned because the evidence they tender looks so fake. But let's assume he didn't resign. Now, you cannot function as national chairman of a party if you are not ratified by NEC. It is there in their constitution. Who ratified him? That's the question. Secondly, if you say you did not resign, but the NWC was dissolved by the NEC converged and dissolved NWC, and the same NEC appointed caretaker committee, the same NEC ratified. So when NEC was dissolving NWC, your own position was not dissolved. The question is, has NEC power to dissolve the NWC of a political party if it is there in their constitution? And one thing people should understand about NEC is just secondary to national convention. The national convention of a political party is the highest decision-making body of that political party. The NEC is the second highest decision-making body, where there is reason not to convoke convention. NEC step in and take those decisions. Ordinarily, the national convention would have taken, but because national convention could not be convenient for convocation, NEC does step in to take those decisions. So for the fact that NEC step in and dissolved every position, appointed caretaker, ratified the caretaker, maybe when they were dissolving the position, which from the constitution of ADC they have powers to dissolve, Nafiu's position is indissoluble by Nafiu Bala Gombe. Nafiu Bala Gombe has made his own position indissoluble, not because of what the ADC constitution has said, just because he assumed that his position is indissoluble. It's not a question of resign. The issue of resignation is to make it to look democratic. Why they were talking about this person resigned, is to make it look democratic, make it look that the party was not bought over. But even when we know that the party was bought over, but the point remains that the NEC has power to dissolve NWC, which they did. But one man says, my position is indissoluble, and he went further to challenge the indissolubility of his position in the court. It's one of the things the court has to look into.
All right, so quickly, let's close this very chapter. What we want to establish again is this. By status quo antebellum, what should have been the right interpretation by INEC? And do you think INEC is being teleguided?
Well, what INEC ought to have done by the time the appeal courts, led by the justices of the appeal court, where they made that very decision that status quo ante bellum be maintained. By that, the way things were before Bala approached the court, before Bala approached Federal High Court, should remain. Who doesn't know what I mean? INEC ought to have continued its recognition of MAC until Federal High Court says otherwise. At that point, INEC will base its decision on the pronouncement of Federal High Court. If you look at what did the Mekan Wite say? Mekan Wite said, put the other party on notice, and he has not done anything, so that they can come forward and show cause why we will not grant the request Bala is making. That is putting somebody on notice. Does it mean removing somebody from being the national chairman or stop recognizing the person? And the people say maintain the status quo ante bellum pending the determination of the ongoing case at the Federal High Court. Does that in any way relate or confer on INEC to remove recognition of somebody? I don't know.
So
why these things are the way they are.
At this point,
I don't know why they are.
At this point, let me ask. Ukwa na ape maka 2027
my concern, I've said it many times. Bola Tinubu is a candidate to beat. I've said it many times, and I'll keep saying this. These things are signs that the president is unbeatable. These things are the sign that is unbeatable. But why I'm saying this, I'm not saying it because it is right or it is wrong. I'm saying it because this is what I'm seeing. When I was telling you people about the leadership problem of ADC, that they should do something, that I'm seeing something. I was saying this last 2 weeks. I was saying it last week. Did it not happen? I'm not saying I'm seeing something because I like it or I don't like it. But as a political analyst, I do see things before they happen. And I will keep saying, look at what I'm seeing. Look at what I'm seeing. This will happen based on issues, circumstances, and realities around us. And the same thing I'm saying, the president is unbeatable.
Right.
He's unbeatable.
Okay, so let's go for this very commercial break. Once we return, we check your calls. Don't forget that we also have on the card the visit of Mr. President to Jos. And don't forget that there was tension in Jos yesterday, where we get that according to the report by the Sun newspaper that about 3 persons were killed, and University of Jos has asked students to evacuate from the hostel because of the unrest in that very place. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
We are Udala Radio. Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, Papa kitchen they do yellow. Wendy's bread, Mama Papa they like Wendy's bread, kitchen they don't do. Wendy's bread, even children they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, get the better tasty we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your kitchen.
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Misha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Onitsha, una done ready for the biggest Easter shutdown. Golden Promise Entertainment presents Easter Golden Fiesta. One massive night of music, comedy, and correct vibes. It happens Sunday, April 12, 2026 from 5 p.m. till dawn for Onitsha Mall ShopRite. Host for the night, MC Bim and MC Feargod. Music policy by Emmy Black, Ivado, and Sparkle T. Laughter with comedians like Twin Parrots, Prince Neche, 5 Naira, Dibia Update, Holy Baba, and Sister Equitos, plus live performances from Nweze and CJ Ozugo, and DJs who will keep the party hot all night. DJ Staffy, DJ Y Barrel, DJ Two Step, DJ Tony Banks, DJ Freezy, and DJ NK. Tickets they go fast. Regular 2,000 Naira, VIP 5,000 Naira, VVIP table for 5, 200,000 Naira. For sponsorship, bookings, and enquiries, call 0814-394-2802 or 0808-4 041-5156. Easter Golden Fiesta, the party we Onitsha go talk about. Supported by Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
I'm on a
Onitsha Clack it! Have you heard? The Onitsha Easter shutdown. From Easter Sunday to Easter Tuesday, come with your family, your friends, your loved ones. Get ready for an unforgettable experience. Live on stage, we have Savio Motu, Igwebu Afamo Botobo Jr., Odumeje MC, Flavor Notutua, MC Eto G, Pretty Diamond, Varsity Band, DJ Pedro, Ojaweli Bonine, Bonade, Awelugo, Mr. K, Ogeno Bag, Hype Man Gonto Smart, Arab 6, Filinex to the Wall, DJ Bookers, and many more. Enjoy beautiful vibes, meet amazing people, connect, games, Dorime show, sexy dancers, action movies, delicious meals, chilled drinks, and non-stop entertainment. The venue is a Chima Primary School Field, Oko Road, Onitsha. Do not miss it. It is going to be massive.
For too long, realtors have worked alone. No structure, no protection, no unified voice. That era ends now. Welcome to the Realtors Summit 2026, a historic gathering that will redefine real estate in Anambra and Asaba. The Anambra Asaba Realtors Association, a platform for unity, influence, and collective power. And beyond that, a Realtors Welfare Initiative built to support you when it matters most. Strengthen your career and secure your future in the industry. At this summit, you'll discover smarter ways to close and scale, multiple income channels in real estate, and strategies that move you from hustle to ownership and authority. Featuring Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki of Udala FM, Lovelin Chinenyen Nana, Property Boss, and Mr. Jude Igwebike, IT Professional. Date 2nd May 2026. Time 11 a.m. Venue 5-star Restaurant Hall, Stock Exchange, Onitsha. This is not for everyone, but for realtors who are ready to rise. For inquiries, call 0803-276-0653. This summit is free, powered by Nebek Real Estate Limited.
Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okono Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success story starts here. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Of course, it's time for you to get involved in this very conversation we're having this very morning on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's 10:34 a.m. That's 26 minutes to 11. My name is Franklin Ebekatono Disambeki is on the analysis desk, and we'll have to take your course now before we get to touch a bit on what happened in church yesterday. 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Don't forget we are live on our Facebook page. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, man.
Okay, sorry, I think you have to call back. We are having noise on that very line. Hello? Yeah, hello, good morning. I'm quite sorry. The noise is actually distorting. So let's try again and see whether it's going to continue. Hello. Hello. Good morning. I'm quite sorry. We're having this very noise on that very line that we can barely hear you. So we are quite sorry that we're having this distortion. And I think at this point in time, maybe we have to go to our Facebook page to acknowledge some of the polls before we get to fix that, so that we'll be able to manage this very time very well. So we are working to fix whatever the issue is. But now I have to go to the Facebook page. So let's get to see the post you have on the page. Okay, we have this very post from Funai Reader, and he says, Udala FM, good morning, Udala FM, and the most eloquent radio station in the southeast Nigeria. INEC really shocked Nigerians last night for suspending ADC party chairman. Is not suspension per se, derecognition. And he says INEC should please inform Nigerians if they only want one party system in the country. So let's try under call now and see if we are going to have improvement on that phone line now. Okay, the fault is still there. So let's continue with the reactions we have on our Facebook page. From Dr. Mrs. Molebara from Owerri, she says, let this government desist from playing politics with the lives of the people. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. Nobody is safe any longer. What do we do to a government that has shown itself unwilling and unable to protect lives and property of its citizens? If government cannot live up to its basic responsibilities of protecting us, we have the right to do it by ourselves, as we cannot just be watching these terrorists send us to untimely death. Life is too precious and sacred to be toyed with, and no sane human being will choose to make himself a defenseless victim. Cheluzie Jen Prince, okay, that's Cheluzie Prince. He says, to make my take on this matter is okay. So I think I'll take my time to get to your post again, so that I'll be able to better understand what your post is all about. Yeah, hello, good morning. Yes, can you hear us very well? Okay, so back to our Facebook page. Cheluzie Prince says, my take on the matter of ADC imbroglio, I want to ask Donald Sambeki. Please, Tony, when you were making your analysis, you said the paper they showed about his resignation looks like an ordinary paper. Was the one of other members who resigned same thing, or whether it was different? If it's same thing, they too can come back and say they did not also resign as well. Retract will be a wicked Christopher from Abatan Suba. He says INEC was unable to maintain. Okay, so for Retract, Ikechukwu Christopher says INEC was unable to maintain the status quo for the very reason Nigerians are complaining about. We know who ordered INEC to do the listing. APC government is by all means trying to use the government institutions to cripple opposition parties, despite boasting of having the majority of governors, senators, and reps. The credibility of the INEC chairman is in serious doubt. Indications of administrative and technical manipulations are looming owing to the real-time transmission of results. Okay. Ifeanyi Chukwu Collins, okay, well, thank you for following us. Odelia Loisho states, what INEC did last night clearly shows that there is no hope for free and fair elections coming 2027. The way INEC intervenes in party issues since this new INEC boss took over raises issues. We saw how they took interest in the matter of PDP. The same happened in Labour Party crisis, now ADC. thought they should have allowed court to decide before taking action. This is not fair in any democratic government. And he posted from Umuobanam, Odili, Aloysius. Let's try again, see?
Hello?
Yes, the noise is still there. Yes. Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let's hear you. Let's see whether we can manage this.
Okay. My name is Anthony Bekeka. I'm calling from Onitsha. Can I go ahead? Hello? Okay. I want to speak. Please, can I Hello?
Please, you can go on.
Okay. Whenever we look at separate policy, it's a wonder. When some persons say that 2027 is the ban of president and that it is unbeatable, you begin to wonder. But when I heard my speaker say it's unbeatable, I chuckled. Because it's unbeatable, why is he afraid of consent act? Because you look at what is happening. It's stabilizing every opposition, every potential threat for this election. They are made with the Labour Party, stabilizing the leadership, and again, the PDP. Now, creating the PDP now, because now, gathering momentum, seeing what transpired last week when joined the party. And the president is doing everything so that he will become the top candidate. Why is he afraid? And now, I am beginning to understand why all the governors are all of them trying to enter APC, working together. Because if you remain where you are, when the foundation is set, where your candidacy cannot be guaranteed at the end of the day. So, for me, I know.
Are you still there? I think we have lost connection with Anthony, so let's try another line and see whether we can have it better there. Hello, good morning. Yes, good morning. Yes, good morning. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Okay, so we're quite sorry that we are having this very difficulty having a good connection for us to bring you on board. Quite sorry, so we have to try again to see whether we have any improvement now. Hello? Hello, good morning. Okay, let's try this for everyone. Good morning. Okay. I'm very sorry. I think we have to get to our Facebook page again. Let's see how we can manage to take reactions from the Facebook page, and then in fact I think we are making frantic effort to ensure that we get this thing worked out, but it's taking a longer time. So let's get back to our Facebook page and take some of these very reactions. And we have this very post from Irene Zajimwe, who says what is happening with ADC was purely orchestrated by APC in order to destabilize the party so that they have the upper hand come next election. He is watching from a Ibadan farm settlement. The question lesson says what INEC did yesterday is a clear indication that one party state agenda of Mr. President has just gained ground. Moses George says, may I ask, Tony, which celebration did Jesus Christ ask the disciples to celebrate again? Does he have a particular date written in the Bible for it? And he goes on to say, can you mention one portion of the Bible that the word Easter? Okay, all right. Let's take another. Let's try another call and see whether it's gonna work out. Hello, good morning. Okay, so Tony, maybe let's address the question that was asked by somebody before we get to talk about what happened in Jos.
Which of the, we have many questions, so we need to maybe start from a particular one and then get on to other questions. I don't know if you can remember or remind me of any.
Okay, let's start from the last one. The person was asking about. He said, "Celebration. Which celebration did Jesus Christ ask disciples to celebrate again? Does he have a particular date written in the Bible for it?" And he added, "Can you mention one portion of the Bible that word Easter is mentioned?"
Well, I think probably if he asks to know, or probably he's asking to either show some level of ignorance, I don't know, but let's assume that he's asking to know. The truth remains that if he had listened very well when we started, I did say about the Monday, Thursday, which is today, and in making such statements, I did say very well that two commands we are given today, and I said Monday, Thursday is a way or a Latin word that talks about mandatum. I said those things when we started as preamble. Love yourself, love one another as you love yourself, and at the same time you have to show humility and service. And also say that it was a day the sacrament of Holy Eucharist was instituted, and somebody saying where or how, was there anywhere in the Bible that says we should do it? Do it in commemoration of me. What is the meaning of commemoration? I think that answers the person's question. What is the meaning of commemoration? To commemorate. Every year we come back and say we are celebrating.
So let's quickly address the second one where he said, is there anywhere in the Bible that the word Easter was mentioned?
Well, I think it also calls back to what we are saying. I think I've addressed this one of the days. I said, forget the names most times used by, in fact, in Igbo. There's something we call Easter in Igbo. And in Igbo, it has its own name. And every, maybe would I say every language or every tribe, has its own name for Easter. But Easter is well documented in the Bible. If you go to the book of Matthew, Mark, John, these things are there. I don't know if sometimes people, even somebody would have said this thing, even the word Bible is not even in the Bible. I have said that many times.
No, totally. I'm sorry, I have to come in.
Okay.
There's something I do tell Nigerians, especially Christians who are so consumed in things that are not relevant. That's what I call them. Because people will ask you questions about certain things. They will ask you, where is it in the Bible? Where is the word used in the Bible? And the same people who are asking you where is the word used in the Bible, they are doing plenty of things, bearing names. None of them is in the Bible. The thing is, I think we don't even understand this Christianity of a thing that people get themselves involved in, because there are certain things that I do not think that people should be asking. Where is the word used in the Bible? Many people today attend crusade. Is there anywhere in the Bible that the word crusade was mentioned or was used?
You know, we've just said, I think there was a day we said some of these things, but we have to really, sound it most times that, I don't know, we should understand one thing in this life. Because are you going to say that the death of Jesus Christ is not in the Bible? His resurrection is not in the Bible? Are you going to say that? Because that's what Easter tried to commemorate. It is important that we understand the practice. if you go by, biblically, I remember, in fact, if you look at Passover, which is celebrated today, that's the Monday, Thursday. If you go by Greek language, you hear Pascha. But these things have variations in the Bible because of languages. We don't have centralized language. And English language is not one of the oldest languages. There was a time Latin was the language of the world because of the Roman Empire. They ruled the world. There was a time Greek was. And now, see, time or times evolve depending on the time you met. So you can come and can say that, oh, for the fact that the word the Bible is not in the Bible, why should I use it? But the Bible is not in the Bible. There are other words like scripture. You hear the word scripture, but there are alternative words. Forget the one that is adopted by Nigerians or some other people.
So let me go back to our Facebook page since the phone lines have been acting up. Austin Mogu from FM Onitsha says, on INEC and ADC political party, I don't know if most of our politicians and our political parties have a good legal team. How can this error be made by the BMAC and ADC as a political party? I don't know if they did not consult a good lawyer before they went to court to challenge whatever. That how PDP in Imo State made an error. That's why the fourth position person turned to become the winner of the election. I believe God is still working for the good of Nigerians. Okay, thank you for dropping by. Then Basil Ugu says, at this point, many Nigerians are beginning to feel that the real contest is no longer between political parties, but between opposition voices and institutions that are supposed to remain neutral. When INEC is constantly accused of bias and judiciary is seen as being used to frustrate opposition parties like ADC, it weakens public confidence in democracy. Nigerians want free, fair and transparent elections where every party has a level playing field. Democracy cannot survive if people start believing that the umpire has joined one side. Let me try the phone line again and see if... Yes, hello? Hello, good morning.
Yes, I want to come to the land of my aunt, I met the land of my thoughts. And why is afraid? Why is afraid to walk through all the way so that you will remain so that that's my question. Because INEC has made a question very soon to the president to remember to walk through opposition. So when you see their statement and what they're talking to do, but you know that there is somebody is wrong for them. That is so outstanding. After you restore rap wood, as the chairman, or you leave the ship as here for the conflict started. So why is the parents afraid? I thought every governor that are related to the party. Why is they afraid for the profession? So I do ask.
All right, thank you. Thank you. We are quite sorry that we are having distortion on the line. It's interfering with proper communication, but we are sincerely sorry for this very morning. Then this one is from Mazimu Rechiko Rosinachi. Says, how on earth does INEC didn't understand frequent Latin word? And I think in a serious matter like this, our judges should mellow down in using Greek and Latin words, since the group of political parties doesn't comprehend the statement. Okay, and you say the angry Thursday, so please, I want to beg Nigerians, Igbo precisely, please, there is this mistake we are making with our Igbo language. We have embraced transliteration as Igbo language. Man, I say happy Holy Thursday, or say angole Thursday, then so. Or Marasege, Happy New Month, Anglo Young Wafro, Ifable transliteration. That is not Igbo language. I think we have to, like all this Ototuama, I'm just trying to use this platform to
the most important thing is that people, you don't translate languages literally, word for word, verb for verb, adjective for adjective. Mostly you translate the general meaning and you choose your language for that meaning, and it may not really be for word. I understand your point, just like you mentioned. We must adopt, because if you look at those who translated Bible in Igbo, they did not do word for word. Just like somebody who asked the question was saying, is anything Easter in the Bible, and forgotten that Easter is an anglicized word. It was, I think, Venerable Bede was the first person to have made use of it, and it was adopted, and it was talking about months. And remember, Passover, which falls with the resurrection of Jesus Christ, which is celebrated by the Jewish people, falls after the first full moon of spring equinox. And when you talk about spring equinox, it has to do with the month. And there are languages that say that this month in question falls within Austere. Austere in the sense that month of fertility, months of celebration and all that. But people, just like language usually is adopted, the English people adopted Austere, anglicized it to Easter, which means the full month of the first, after the first full month of what? Of the spring. Of the, it's just a month. Another word for the month it falls into. Okay. But the issue is that the whole thing about Easter, which is more like the thing that fell under the Passover, is documented. Not the month it fell into.
The thing for me, if you're a Christian and your preoccupation at this level is whether the word Easter is in the Bible or not, then maybe you do not understand the faith you are in.
And let me also point out that immediately the Christ resurrected, the early Christians around AD 30 to 33 started the commemoration immediately. One of the best passages, in fact one of my best passages in the Bible, was the appearing of Christ when the disciples were going to Emmaus. I don't know if you remember it. And where they were talking about the death and the resurrection, he appeared before them. He broke the bread and even did the commemoration with them. It's one of the best passages for me. Most times if I read in the Bible, I so much enjoy. But that's aside. And if you look around, it was the Council of Nicaea around 325.
So let's not go there. You know why
I like history.
Yes, let's not go there because this took us from actually our primary focus, but it's good that we try to clarify all these things so that people get to understand. And at this point in time, we have to enter this conversation. Our apologies for not being able to take your call because of the distortion.
We'll carry it over tomorrow. For those who may have wanted to, say one thing that happened today, tomorrow, we may be accommodated. Tomorrow is Good Friday. We accommodate it. Whatever you may have wanted to say today, you couldn't say. Maybe tomorrow we accommodate it.
All right. So we thank every one of you for listening and bearing with us today. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, everyone. My name is Franklin Ebuka. Good morning.
Udala Radio.